Welcome to United Daily Updates, your most trusted source for Manchester United news. Hello everyone and welcome back to United Daily Updates, your number one destination for everything Manchester United. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please hit that subscribe button right now. We bring you the latest news, match previews, transfer updates, and honest analysis every single day. We work hard to be your most reliable and trusted source for all things Red Devils. We never spread fake rumors or sensational headlines just for clicks. We give you real information that you can count on. Now let's get into today's important match preview. Introduction. A crucial game that could define both teams. Thursday night football under the lights at Old Trafford. Manchester United against West Ham United. On paper, this looks like a game that the home team should win comfortably. United are the bigger club with better players and more resources. They are playing at home where they should have the advantage. West Ham are struggling near the bottom of the table and desperately need points to climb out of trouble. But football is never that simple, is it? Form, confidence, momentum, and pressure all play huge roles in determining results. And right now, both of these teams are dealing with their own challenges and uncertainties. Manchester United are trying to build something under new manager Ruben Amorim. They have shown signs of improvement recently but are still far from where they want to be. West Ham are fighting for their Premier League lives, sitting dangerously close to the relegation zone and needing results urgently. According to the predictions from the team at Claret and Hugh, which is a well-known West Ham fan website, there is not much optimism among Hammer supporters heading into this match. Most of them expect United to win, with some predicting quite heavy defeats for their team. The mood is grim. The confidence is low. But as any football fan knows, that is exactly when upsets can happen. One particularly interesting piece of information is that following Leeds United's win over Chelsea, West Ham now need a 2-goal victory to climb out of the Premier League relegation zone. Think about that for a moment. West Ham need to not just win at Old Trafford, which would be difficult enough, but they need to win by 2 clear goals. That is a massive ask against any Premier League team, let alone Manchester United at home. In this detailed blog post, we are going to break down everything you need to know about this crucial match. We will look at what both teams need from this game. We will examine the team news and potential lineups. We will discuss the tactical battle between the managers. We will explore what the predictions tell us about expectations. And we will think about what the result might mean for both clubs going forward. This is not just another midweek game. This is a match that could have serious implications for both teams. For United, it is a chance to build momentum and keep climbing the table. For West Ham, it is about survival and avoiding a relegation battle that could destroy their season. The stakes are high. The pressure is real. And we are going to cover every angle of this fascinating encounter. So get comfortable, grab your favorite drink, and let's dive deep into Manchester United versus West Ham United, understanding where both teams stand. Before we get into the specifics of this match, we need to understand the current situations of both clubs. Where are they in the table? What has their recent form been like? What are their objectives for the season? Understanding the context helps us appreciate what is at stake in this game. Manchester United's season so far. Manchester United are currently sitting in 7th place in the Premier League table. For a club of United's size and history, 7th place is not good enough. This is a team that should be competing for the top 4 at minimum and ideally challenging for the title. But the reality is that United have been struggling for consistency for several years now. This season started with Erik ten Hag still in charge, but results were poor and performances were unconvincing. Eventually, United made the decision to part ways with Ten Hag and bring in Ruben Amorim from Sporting CP in Portugal. Amorim is a young, progressive coach who had done excellent work at Sporting, winning titles and playing attractive football. However, as we have discussed in previous blog posts, Amorim's start at United has been challenging. He warned fans that there would be a storm at Old Trafford, and he was right. The team has struggled to adapt to his methods. Results have been inconsistent. There have been some embarrassing defeats like the loss to Grimsby Town in the Carabao Cup. But recently, things have started to improve. United have won 4 of their last 7 league games with only 1 defeat. They are starting to show signs of understanding what Amorim wants. The performances are getting better. The results are coming. And slowly but surely, United are climbing the table. 7th place means United are in the race for European qualification, but they are not in a Champions League spot yet. They need to keep winning games and building momentum. Every match from now until the end of the season matters. Dropping points against teams they should beat, like West Ham, would be a real setback. The mood around Old Trafford is cautiously optimistic right now. Fans can see improvement. They can see that Amorim has a clear plan. They believe that with time and the right reinforcements in the transfer market, United can get back to where they belong. But patience is required, and so are results in games like this one. West Ham's desperate situation. West Ham United find themselves in a very different and much more concerning situation. They are fighting relegation. After Leeds beat Chelsea, West Ham now need a 2-goal victory just to climb out of the relegation zone. That tells you everything you need to know about how badly their season has gone. This is shocking when you think about it. West Ham are not supposed to be a relegation battling team. They have invested heavily in players over recent years. They have a decent stadium in the London Stadium. They have passionate fans who fill the ground every week. On paper, they should be a comfortable mid-table side aiming for a top-half finish. But something has gone badly wrong this season. The team has not been performing. Results have been terrible. They cannot score enough goals. They cannot defend properly. Confidence is shot. And now they find themselves in a genuine relegation fight with the very real possibility of dropping into the Championship if things do not improve quickly. The predictions from the Claret and Hue team really capture the mood among West Ham fans right now. Matt Kemp predicted a 2-0 defeat with no shots on target, comparing it to their terrible performance against Liverpool. Martin went even more negative with a 4-0 defeat prediction. These are supporters who have completely lost faith in their team's ability to compete. Only Sean Whetstone showed some optimism by predicting a 1-0 West Ham win, and Pete went for a 3-0 West Ham victory, though it is mentioned that Pete knows more about IT than football, so maybe his prediction should be taken with a grain of salt. The overall feeling is one of doom and gloom. West Ham fans do not believe their team can get anything from this game. When a fan base loses belief like this, it often reflects the reality of what is happening on the pitch. Players pick up on negative energy. They start doubting themselves. They play with fear rather than confidence. It becomes a downward spiral that is very hard to break. For West Ham, this match at Old Trafford is absolutely massive. They desperately need points from somewhere. Yes, going to Old Trafford and getting a result is one of the hardest tasks in English football. But when you are fighting relegation, you have to find points from difficult games. You cannot just write off matches before they even kick off. The contrast between the two situations. The contrast between Manchester United and West Ham right now could not be more stark. United are a team on the way up, showing improvement, building confidence, and starting to believe in what their manager is trying to do. West Ham are a team in crisis, lacking confidence, struggling for results, and worried about their very survival in the Premier League. This dynamic often influences how games play out. The team with momentum and confidence usually has a big advantage. Players who believe they are going to win often do win because that belief translates into better performances. Players who are scared and lacking confidence often fulfill their own negative prophecies by playing poorly. However, we should not completely write off West Ham before the game even starts. Football can be unpredictable. Sometimes a team that everyone expects to lose comes out and surprises everyone with a great performance. Sometimes the pressure of being favourites affects the better team. Sometimes individual moments of quality or mistakes can swing a game in an unexpected direction. But if we are being honest and realistic, Manchester United should win this game. They are the better team. They are at home. They are in better form. They have more quality throughout the squad. All the factors point towards a United victory. The question is not really whether United will win, but by how much and how convincingly. The team news situation. Team news is always crucial heading into any match. Which players are available? Who is injured? Who is suspended? Who might be rested? Let's look at what we know about the team news for both sides. Manchester United's injury concerns. The article mentions that Manchester United boss Ruben Amorim has suggested the Red Devils could be without 2 senior players tonight. However, there is an interesting caveat added. He might easily be playing possum. The phrase "who really knows" captures the uncertainty around this. What does playing possum mean in this context? It means that Amorim might be deliberately misleading people about his team selection and injury situation. Managers sometimes do this to keep the opposition guessing. If West Ham prepare for one United lineup and then face a different one, it could give United an advantage. We do not have specific names of which 2 senior players Amorim was referring to. This lack of detail is probably deliberate. Amorim does not want to give too much information away to West Ham and their coaching staff. Keep them guessing. Make them prepare for multiple scenarios. This is just smart gamesmanship. From previous reports we have covered, we know that Matheus Cunha has recently returned to training after missing a couple of games with a knock. Is he one of the players Amorim was being cryptic about? Will he be available for selection or will he miss another game? These are questions we might not get clear answers to until the team sheets are revealed shortly before kickoff. The uncertainty around team news is always frustrating for fans who want to know exactly who will be playing. But it is part of the psychological game that managers play with each other. Sometimes the not knowing is worse for the opposition than the actual reality would be. What we can say is that Manchester United will field a strong team regardless of who is available. They have enough quality in the squad to handle most injury situations. Unless there is a crisis with multiple key players out, United should have more than enough to beat West Ham. West Ham selection headaches. We do not have specific team news information about West Ham from the article, but we can make some educated guesses about the challenges their manager faces in selecting a team. First and foremost, West Ham need to find a way to score goals. The prediction from Matt Kemp that they will not have a single shot on target really captures how toothless they have been in attack recently. If you cannot create chances and test the opposition goalkeeper, you have no chance of winning football matches. So the West Ham manager, whoever is in charge, needs to pick a team that can create something going forward. They need attackers who can make runs, create space, and finish chances. They need midfielders who can supply quality passes. They need to show some ambition and belief rather than just sitting deep and hoping to survive. At the same time, West Ham cannot be naive and leave themselves completely exposed at the back. Manchester United have attacking quality that can punish defensive mistakes. If West Ham push too many players forward and leave gaps, they could get hammered. Finding the right balance between attack and defense is crucial. West Ham also need to consider the mental and emotional state of their players. Who has confidence right now? Who is playing well? Who is struggling? Sometimes when a team is in crisis, you need to make tough decisions and drop players who are not performing, even if they are usually important players. The West Ham manager faces a difficult task. He needs to somehow inspire a group of players who are low on confidence to go to Old Trafford and produce a performance that nobody expects them to produce. He needs to find a tactical approach that gives them a chance. And he needs to hope that on the day, his players can execute the plan and take their chances. The predictions from Claret and Hugh. One of the most interesting aspects of the article we are covering is the predictions from the team at Claret and Hugh. This is a West Ham-focused website where fans and writers share their thoughts. Looking at their predictions gives us real insight into how West Ham supporters are feeling heading into this match. Matt Kemp's grim prediction. Matt Kemp predicted a 2-0 Manchester United victory with West Ham not having a single shot on target. He compared this to the Liverpool performance, which was clearly terrible for West Ham. This is about as negative as a prediction can get without going to even higher scorelines. Matt is not just predicting defeat. He is predicting complete humiliation where West Ham do not even threaten the United goal once. No shots on target means no real attacking threat at all. It means spending the entire match defending and hoping the scoreline does not get embarrassing. The comparison to the Liverpool performance is telling. When West Ham played Liverpool, they were evidently torn apart. They could not cope with Liverpool's attacking quality. They were completely overwhelmed. Matt clearly expects the same thing to happen at Old Trafford, with United dominating from start to finish. What does it say about West Ham's current state that their own supporters expect them to not even test the opposition goalkeeper? It speaks to a complete lack of belief in the team's attacking capabilities. When fans have this little faith, it usually means they have seen enough poor performances to justify their pessimism. For Manchester United fans reading this, Matt's prediction should be encouraging. It suggests that even West Ham's own supporters do not believe their team can compete. When you go into a game knowing that the opposition fans expect their team to be terrible, it gives you confidence. Martin's even more pessimistic view. Martin took things even further with a prediction of 4-0 to Manchester United, adding a miserable emoji to emphasize his feelings. This is remarkable. A 4-0 away defeat is a thrashing. It is the kind of result that leads to serious questions about the manager, the players, and the entire direction of the club. For Martin to predict his own team losing 4-0 shows just how little hope he has. He does not even pretend to think West Ham can compete. He is bracing himself for a heavy defeat and just hoping it does not get even worse than 4-0. The fact that multiple West Ham fans are predicting such heavy defeats is significant. This is not just one person being negative. This is a collective loss of faith in the team. When multiple supporters all expect similar terrible results, it creates a narrative that becomes hard to shake off. Imagine being a West Ham player and knowing that your own fans expect you to get hammered. That is brutal. It puts even more pressure on players who are already struggling with confidence. It creates a situation where anything less than a total disaster might actually be seen as a positive, which shows how low expectations have fallen. The lone voices of optimism. Sean Whetstone provided a rare voice of optimism by predicting a 1-0 West Ham victory. Sean is clearly someone who still believes West Ham can cause an upset. He thinks they can go to Old Trafford and nick a 1-0 win, probably through a set piece or defensive mistake from United. Is Sean being realistic or is he just being loyal to his team? It is hard to say. 1-0 away wins do happen in football. Underdogs do sometimes go to big grounds and get results through staying solid defensively and taking a rare chance when it comes. But based on current form and the quality gap between the teams, betting on a West Ham win would be very brave. Then there is Pete, who predicted a 3-0 West Ham victory. However, the article makes it clear that Pete's expertise is in IT rather than football, so his prediction should probably not be taken too seriously. It seems like Pete is either being wildly optimistic or just having a bit of fun with his prediction rather than making a serious football analysis. The fact that only 2 people out of the whole Claret and Hugh team predicted West Ham wins, and one of them admittedly does not know much about football, really tells you everything. The overwhelming consensus is that West Ham will lose. The only debate is whether it will be a narrow defeat or a thrashing. The writer's prediction. The author of the article, who goes by the name Gonzo, predicted that West Ham will lose 2-1. This is actually a relatively optimistic prediction compared to some of the others. It suggests that while United will win, West Ham will at least score a goal and make a game of it to some extent. Gonzo admits that he would love to believe West Ham can grab something from this match. He acknowledges that Manchester United are far from brilliant at the moment. But like Matt, he does not think West Ham have the firepower to seriously trouble even an average Premier League side right now. This captures the essential dilemma for West Ham fans. Logic and their eyes tell them that their team is not good enough to compete. But hope and loyalty make them want to believe in an upset. Most of the time, logic wins out and fans end up disappointed. But occasionally, hope is rewarded with an unexpected positive result that makes all the suffering worthwhile. A 2-1 defeat would actually be a decent result for West Ham in some ways. Yes, they would lose and not get any points, which is what they desperately need. But they would have scored a goal and shown some fighting spirit. They would have made United work for the victory. It would not be the complete humiliation that some are predicting. What West Ham need to do to get a result? Even though most predictions suggest Manchester United will win comfortably, let's think about what West Ham would need to do to have any chance of getting a result. What tactical approach might work? What would they need to do right? What mistakes would United need to make? Understanding West Ham's path to success, however unlikely, makes the match more interesting to analyze. Defensive organization is essential. The absolute foundation of any upset in football is solid defensive organization. West Ham cannot go to Old Trafford and try to play expansive open football. They do not have the quality to compete with United in that kind of game. They would get picked apart and lose heavily, just like many are predicting. Instead, West Ham need to be compact, organized, and disciplined defensively. They need 2 banks of 4 players sitting deep and narrow. They need to make it as difficult as possible for United to play through them. They need to close down space. They need to track runners. They need to win their individual battles. And they need to stay concentrated for the full 90 minutes. If West Ham can keep United at bay for the first 20 or 30 minutes, they might start to frustrate the home team. Old Trafford can become an anxious place if United are not scoring. The fans get nervous. That nervousness transfers to the players. Suddenly what should be an easy win starts to feel difficult and tense. But this requires everyone in the West Ham team to be committed to defending. The forwards need to work back and help. The midfielders need to cover ground and plug gaps. The defenders need to be solid and not make mistakes. If even 1 or 2 players do not do their defensive jobs properly, United will exploit those weaknesses and score goals. The big question is whether West Ham have the organization, discipline, and work rate to defend properly for 90 minutes. Based on their recent performances and results, there are serious doubts. But in a one-off match, sometimes a struggling team can produce a disciplined defensive performance that keeps them in the game. Set pieces might be their best chance. If West Ham are going to score goals against Manchester United, set pieces are probably their best opportunity. When you are the underdog and you cannot create many chances from open play, set pieces become crucial. Corners, free kicks, and throw-ins are situations where organization and delivery can overcome a quality gap. West Ham need to be dangerous from every set piece they get. They need good delivery into the box. They need players who attack the ball aggressively. They need to win the first contact and create chaos in United's penalty area. If they can score from a set piece, suddenly the whole dynamic of the match changes. Defending set pieces also becomes vital. United will have their own set pieces and they have players who can score from these situations. West Ham cannot afford to concede from a corner or free kick because that would be a hammer blow to any hopes they have of getting something from the match. Set pieces are often called the great equalizer in football because they give weaker teams a genuine chance to score against better teams. West Ham need to take full advantage of every set-piece opportunity they get. If they waste these chances with poor delivery or weak attacking of the ball, they are unlikely to score at all. They must take any chances that come. In matches like this, where one team is much stronger than the other, the underdog usually does not get many clear goal-scoring chances. Maybe they get one good opportunity, maybe two if they are lucky. When these rare chances come, they absolutely must be taken. Miss them and you probably lose. Score them and you give yourself a real chance. West Ham's attackers need to be clinical. If they get a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, they need to score. If they get a free header from 6 yards out, they need to bury it. If they get a clear shooting chance from the edge of the box, they need to hit the target. Wasting chances against good teams is usually fatal. This is where the confidence issues come into play. Strikers who are low on confidence often snatch at chances. They rush their shots. They make poor decisions. They miss opportunities that they would normally score. West Ham's forwards are probably low on confidence given how the season has gone. They need to somehow find the composure and belief to be clinical when chances arrive. If West Ham do score first, the whole match changes. United would be under pressure at home. The crowd would get nervous. West Ham would gain belief and confidence. Suddenly an unlikely result becomes possible. But it all depends on taking that first real chance when it comes. United need to have an off day. Let's be honest, for West Ham to get anything from this match, Manchester United probably need to have a poor performance. West Ham cannot rely on just doing things right themselves. They also need United to do things wrong. What might that look like? United could be wasteful in front of goal, creating lots of chances but not taking them. United's defense could make uncharacteristic mistakes that give West Ham opportunities. United could lose focus and concentration, allowing West Ham back into the game when they should be putting it to bed. United could get a player sent off, giving West Ham a numerical advantage. These things do happen in football. Good teams sometimes have off days. Home favourites sometimes slip up against teams they should beat easily. If this is one of those days for United, West Ham might have a chance. But banking on your opponent having a bad day is not really a strategy. It is just hope. West Ham need to do everything right and hope United do enough things wrong. That is a lot of variables that need to align for an upset to happen. What Manchester United need to do to win comfortably. Now let's flip the perspective and think about what Manchester United need to do to get the comfortable victory that most people expect. What approach should they take? What do they need to do well? How can they avoid any potential banana skins? Start fast and take control. The worst thing Manchester United could do is start slowly and allow West Ham to settle into the game. If the first 20 minutes are cagey and scrappy with no goals, West Ham will grow in confidence and belief. They will start to think that maybe they can get something from the match. The longer the game stays 0-0, the more dangerous it becomes for United. Instead, United need to come out aggressively from the first whistle. They need to press West Ham high up the pitch. They need to dominate possession. They need to create chances early. And most importantly, they need to score an early goal. If United can score within the first 15 or 20 minutes, the match is essentially over. West Ham will be deflated. They will have to chase the game. They will have to open up more, which will create space for United to exploit. One early goal often leads to several more as the opposition falls apart. Ruben Amorim needs to have his team fully focused and ready from the start. No complacency. No taking West Ham lightly. No assuming that just because you are the better team you will automatically win. United need to impose themselves on the game immediately and take control. Exploit West Ham's defensive weaknesses. West Ham are in the relegation zone for a reason. Their defense has been poor all season. They concede goals regularly. They make mistakes. They struggle to cope with pace, movement, and quality attacking play. Manchester United need to identify these weaknesses and exploit them ruthlessly. United should be looking to get their quick attackers running at West Ham's defenders. Players like Amad Diallo and potentially Matheus Cunha, if he is fit, need to attack with pace and directness. Defenders who are low on confidence hate having quick players running at them. It creates panic and mistakes. United should also be looking to overload West Ham in wide areas. Get fullbacks and wingers combining to create 2 versus 1 situations. Deliver quality crosses into the box for forwards to attack. West Ham's organisation will likely be quite compact centrally, so United need to stretch them wide and create space. Movement and rotation between United's attacking players will also be key. If Bruno Fernandes, Cunha, and others keep moving and swapping positions, West Ham's defenders will struggle to track them. This creates confusion and gaps that United can exploit. The key is to play with confidence and quality. United have better players than West Ham. If they play to their potential, they should create numerous chances and score multiple goals. It is only if United are sloppy, wasteful, or complacent that West Ham have any hope. Defend properly and don't give West Ham hope. While United should be focused primarily on attacking and scoring goals, they also need to make sure they defend properly. The worst thing that could happen would be to concede a sloppy goal that gives West Ham hope and makes the game more difficult than it should be. United need to stay concentrated defensively. They need to deal with set pieces properly. They need to not switch off and allow West Ham easy chances. They need to protect their goalkeeper and make him a spectator for most of the match. If United go 1 or 2 goals ahead, they absolutely cannot allow West Ham to score and get back into the game. That would change the whole atmosphere and psychology of the match. United need to be ruthless and professional, putting the game to bed and not giving their opponents any lifeline. Clean sheets are valuable psychologically as well as in terms of points. If United can keep West Ham from scoring, it reinforces the defensive improvement that has been happening under Amorim. It builds confidence throughout the team. And it sends a message that United are becoming hard to beat. Use squad depth intelligently. With the busy schedule and the fact that this is a game United should win comfortably, Ruben Amorim needs to think about squad management. There is no point running key players into the ground in a match against relegation-threatened West Ham when there are more difficult fixtures coming up. If United go 2 or 3 goals ahead, Amorim should not hesitate to make substitutions and rest important players. Give them 60 or 70 minutes, get the job done, and then bring them off to save their legs. Use the full complement of substitutes to keep players fresh and give game time to squad players who need minutes. This is also an opportunity to give younger players some exposure if the game is safe. If United are 3 or 4 goals up with 20 minutes to go, why not bring on a talented youngster from the academy? It gives them valuable experience and keeps them motivated while also giving senior players a rest. Managing the squad properly across a long season is crucial for success. Games like this against weaker opponents are perfect opportunities to rotate and manage workload. Amorim needs to be smart about this and not just keep his best 11 on the pitch for the full 90 minutes when it is not necessary. The bigger context. What this result means. Beyond just the 3 points at stake, this match has broader significance for both clubs. Let's think about what different results would mean in the bigger context of both team seasons. If Manchester United win comfortably, a comfortable victory for Manchester United, let's say 3-0 or 4-0, would be perfect for several reasons. First and most obviously, it would give United 3 valuable points that keep them climbing the table towards the Champions League places. Second, it would continue the positive momentum that has been building under Ruben Amorim. Winning games breeds confidence. When players keep winning, they start believing in what the manager is doing. They execute the tactics better. They play with more freedom and confidence. Everything becomes easier. Third, a big win would boost goal difference, which could become important later in the season if United are involved in a tight race for 4th place with other teams. Every goal counts in those situations. Fourth, it would show that United can do what they are supposed to do. Beat teams they should be beating at home. For too long, United have dropped points in matches like this through poor performances or complacency. Winning comfortably against West Ham shows that problem is being addressed. Fifth, it would give Amorim a chance to rest players and manage his squad, as discussed earlier. Going into the busy December period with fresh players is valuable. A comfortable win is what everyone expects and what United desperately need to deliver. There are no excuses. No one will give United credit for scraping a narrow win against a team fighting relegation. They need to do the job properly. If Manchester United struggle or lose. On the other hand, if Manchester United fail to beat West Ham, it would be a disaster. A draw would be a massive disappointment and would raise serious questions. A defeat would be absolutely catastrophic and might undo all the good work and positive momentum from recent weeks. Dropping points at home to a relegation-battling team is unacceptable for Manchester United. It would suggest that the team still has serious problems. It would put pressure back on Ruben Amorim. It would frustrate fans who expect better. And it would damage United's chances of finishing in the top 4. The media reaction would be brutal. Headlines would question whether Amorim is the right man. Pundits would dissect what went wrong. Social media would explode with criticism and anger. The negativity would be intense and could derail the progress that has been made. Amorim knows this. His players know this. Everyone at Manchester United understands that this is a must-win game. There is simply no scenario where failing to beat West Ham would be acceptable. United have to deliver. If West Ham get a result. From West Ham's perspective, getting any kind of result at Old Trafford would be enormous. A draw would be a good point that helps them in their relegation fight. A win would be absolutely massive, giving them 3 crucial points and a huge boost of confidence. If West Ham somehow pull off an upset, it would be celebrated wildly by their fans. It would give the players belief that they can survive this relegation battle. It would take pressure off the manager. And it would be remembered as one of those special results that sometimes define a season. However, we need to be realistic about the chances of this happening. Based on everything we know about both teams' current form and quality, West Ham getting a positive result seems very unlikely. They are just not playing well enough. They do not have enough confidence or quality to compete with United. But football can surprise us. That is what makes it beautiful and unpredictable. Maybe tonight will be one of those surprising nights where the underdog defies expectations and gets a result that nobody saw coming. West Ham fans will certainly be hoping so. The relegation picture for West Ham. Let's talk more specifically about West Ham's relegation situation because it really highlights just how dire things are for them right now. The article told us that following Leeds United's win over Chelsea, West Ham now need a 2-goal victory to climb out of the Premier League relegation zone. Think about how ridiculous that sounds. West Ham need to go to Old Trafford and not just win, but win by 2 clear goals just to get out of the bottom 3. The chances of that happening are almost zero. It would require West Ham to produce probably their best performance of the season and United to produce probably their worst. This means that even if West Ham somehow managed to win 1-0 or 2-1 at Old Trafford, which would be an incredible achievement, they would still be in the relegation zone. They need a big victory to move up the table. That shows you how much trouble they are in. The harsh reality is that West Ham will almost certainly still be in the relegation zone after this match. They are not going to win by 2 goals at Old Trafford. So they need to shift their focus to other fixtures where they have a better chance of picking up points. Games against other teams in the bottom half of the table. Home fixtures where they have some advantage. These are the matches where West Ham need to get results if they are going to survive. But every game matters when you are fighting relegation. Even if West Ham lose at Old Trafford, the manner of the defeat matters. Losing 2-1 while showing fight and spirit is different from losing 4-0 and being completely outclassed. The former at least shows character and gives you something to build on. The latter destroys confidence and creates a crisis. The tactical battle between the managers. Every football match involves a tactical battle between the two managers. They study each other's teams. They identify strengths and weaknesses. They come up with game plans. And they make adjustments during the match based on what is happening. Let's think about the tactical battle in this match. Ruben Amorim's approach. Ruben Amorim will have a clear game plan for this match. He knows West Ham are struggling. He knows they are low on confidence. He knows United should be winning this game comfortably if they play to their potential. Amorim will likely set United up in an attacking formation designed to dominate possession and create lots of chances. He will want his team to press West Ham high up the pitch and win the ball back quickly when they lose it. He will want constant movement and rotation among the attacking players to confuse West Ham's defenders. One key decision for Amorim is team selection, particularly in midfield. Does he go with his strongest available 11? Or does he rotate some players to keep them fresh? This balance between winning the game and managing the squad is something every manager deals with. Amorim also needs to make sure his players do not take West Ham lightly. Complacency is the enemy in games like this. United need to be professional, focused, and ruthless. They need to treat this like any other game and give it proper respect and effort. During the match, Amorim will be watching to see how West Ham set up and how they try to defend. He will be ready to make tactical adjustments if needed. If West Ham are sitting very deep, United might need to be more patient and probe for openings rather than forcing things. If West Ham try to press high, United should look to play through them and exploit the space in behind. The fact that Amorim might be playing mind games with his team news, as mentioned in the article, shows he is thinking about the psychological aspects as well as the tactical ones. Keep West Ham guessing. Make them prepare for multiple scenarios. Add to their uncertainty and nervousness. West Ham's survival strategy. The West Ham manager faces a much more difficult tactical challenge. How do you set up a team that is low on confidence to go to Old Trafford and somehow get a result? What formation do you use? What instructions do you give to players? As discussed earlier, West Ham almost certainly need to be defensive and compact.